Today, boys and girls, we are going to talk about how to add some bigger numbers together. So we are going to learn some new strategies to put in our tool belt, and these strategies are specifically for addition. So if we look at our symbol for addition, we see that we're going to use the plus sign. So we could practice a hand movement to represent the plus sign. What would that look like? So the first strategy we are going to talk about today is called a model. So go ahead and write model. So at the top of your page you have addition strategies with your symbol, and then our first strategy is going to be a model. So the problem that we are going to be using today to add is going to be 325 plus 170. I want you to look how I'm writing my addition equation. I'm writing a vertical equation. That means my numbers are going down. Notice that my ones place are lined up, my tens place are lined up, and my hundreds place are lined up. I have my plus, my symbol, and then this line in a vertical equation represents equals. So this literally says 325 plus 170 equals, and we are going to use a model to find this answer, which in an addition problem is called the sum. So we are going to be trying to find the sum of this addition problem. So in order to use a model, we are going to go back and talk about those models that we were talking about before fall break when we were talking about place value. So as I mentioned, we have hundreds, tens, and ones. So we need to draw a model to represent this number using our hundreds. So I'm going to use an H for hundreds, T for tens, and 0 for ones. I'm going to use those letters to kind of help me organize my model as I draw it. So my first number, if I look, how many hundreds do I have? I have 3 hundredths. So remember the way that we represented hundredths was with those squares. So I'm going to draw 3 squares for 3 hundredths. Next, I need to represent my tens. How many tens do I have? I have 2 tens. So in my tens column, I'm going to represent those 2 tens by drawing my 2 sticks. So 10, 20, I have 2 tens. And then finally, I have how many ones? I have 5 ones. So underneath my ones column, I'm going to represent that with some circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to underline these so we can differentiate our 1 O from our ones. All right, next we're going to make our model look just like our equation. So I'm going to go ahead and add that plus sign, and now I'm going to draw a model for the next number. So how many hundreds do I have? I have 100. So I'm going to represent that with 100. I have how many tens? 7 tens. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And lastly, I have 0 ones. So what does that mean I need to put here if I have nothing? If I have 0 ones, then I don't need to draw any circles to represent ones. I don't have any. So I'm just going to leave that blank. So the last thing I do to make my model look just like my equation is I'm going to draw my equal sign. And now I'm going to start adding. Now, boys and girls, this is the most important part to remember. When you are adding a multi-digit addition equation, you always want to start in the ones place. And you will see why in the next problem that we solve. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to count up all of my ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have any here, so I know that I have 5 ones. Then I'm going to go to my tens and count my tens. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tens. So I'm going to write 9. And finally, I have how many hundreds? 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. So I have a total sum of 495. So I'm going to go ahead and write my sum in 495. All right, we're going to do another equation using the same strategy, but this one's going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to see if you can tell me why. So this time I'm going to do 418 plus 263. So go ahead and write your next equation down. Again, we are trying to find the sum of my addition equation. So I'm going to start out the same way. I'm going to draw a model to represent each number. So first I have how many hundredths? I have 4 hundredths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm still staying in my hundredths column. If you want to rewrite your H, your T, and your O, you can. Then I need to represent my my tens. How many tens do I have? I have 1 10, so I'm going to draw 1 10. And then next I'm going to draw my ones. How many ones do I have? I have 8. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have now represented 418 as a model. So the next thing I need to do is I need to add. So I'm going to write my addition symbol. Now I'm going to draw a model for 263. I have 2 hundredths. I have 6 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I have 3 ones. 1, 2, 3. The last thing I need to do is draw that equal sign. And so now I have 418 plus 263 represented in a model. So let's discover why this one is a little bit different than the one we did the first time. So remember, I always start adding where? Good, in my ones place. So I'm going to start adding my ones. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I know that I can only put one number or one digit here, one digit here, and one digit here. So if I have 11 ones, I cannot write the number 11 here. So what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to do something called regroup. So I know that each one of these is a 10. And I know that I had 11 here. So if I have 11 here, that means I have enough to group a whole 10 and move it over to the tens place. So let's do that. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to draw a circle around those. So that's a 10. And I'm going to take that 10 and I'm going to move it over here. And because it's going over to the tens place, it can no longer look like this. When you live in the tens place, you have to look like this. So if I were to take these 10 circles and stack them on top of each other, they would become a 10. So now I have one more 10. So these are now over here. If you want to cross those out so that you remember you've already used them, you can do that if it helps you. So now I'm ready to add again. So this time I only have one that's not in that circle, that did not move over. So I know that I have 1, 1. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tens. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundredths, which gives me a total sum of 681. So I'm going to write 681. All right, friends, you are now going to practice some addition equations that your teacher is going to give you by using the model strategy.